So normally we have guests join right at the top of the hour, but for some reason they're all here now already. So
Huh. They're all here?
yeah, well, I mean, whoever has joined so far is already on and can hear us right now.
Ah,
Just
okay.
letting you know.
Terrific.
So
And
thank you for everyone who's here so far.
all right, well, I'm almost ready to share my screen, but not
Okay,
100% ready.
you still have 3 minutes.
Ah, good. Okay. How you feeling, by the way? I know you were a little under the weather.
Yes, I'm feeling better. I'm hoping I can speak without coughing.
All right, well, hope so too.
Yes,
Um, I didn't lose you guys. I'm closing a bunch of windows on my computer.
that helps.
Yeah, it does get the bandwidth.
We have 25 people so far.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So if you've joined us already, we're starting in 2 minutes.
All right. Nothing like last minute adjustments to the PowerPoint presentation. Uh,
Well, you got it done. That's what's important.
I did, but I mean, I'm collecting data all the time, right? A few
Oh, I
little
know.
little data points that'll be good for the presentation, and yeah.
All right, we're at the top of the hour. Do you want to start?
You know what? Let's give people just another moment to look to get here. I mean, maybe we'll start at 5:01. I do like to be respectful of people's time, of
Yeah.
course. But just a minute at the top of the hour, let a few more folks join us. And
Good.
I don't know, let's see where people are calling in from. Maybe you could
Oh yeah, do you guys want to put in the chat in the Q&A where you're joining us from today?
it's good. Get a sense of where everybody's located. I mean, obviously we have a lot of US and Canada, but sometimes we get people from Australia, Europe,
Mhm.
Asia. I mean, Asia's exactly the opposite. Was it 5 o'clock here on the East Coast to be, I guess what, 5 or 6 in the morning over there, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we've got Maine, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Washington. Anybody else? I think that's Georgia.
Georgia. All right. All right.
Ontario,
Well,
Canada.
good. All right.
Another
I'm going to go ahead
Washington,
and
Florida, two from
share-
Florida.
keep why that's allow Zoom to share your screen. Yes, I would like to do that.
I think we're at 5:01 now. Oh, Playa del
What?
Carmen,
I've
Mexico.
got to,
Ooh.
I will be back. It's telling me I have to refresh. So
Oh no.
adios and be right back.
Okay. Sorry about that. We'll get started in just 1 minute. I know people are still rolling in, so as soon as Mike gets back, we will start the webinar. Poland. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Edmonton. Very cool. Sorry, Mike had to refresh his screen, so he's just trying to share right now. So we're running just a couple minutes behind. There he goes. Yes, I figured out it was Georgia. Thank you, Carol. You ready, Mike? You're on mute. I don't know if you're.
Trying to figure out how to get my camera on too, but
Boy.
having trouble here, folks. That's
Sorry,
anyway.
guys. I think we're getting closer.
Yeah, I think we're good. There we go.
There you
Hey.
go.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry for the confusion. I know I did a massive update yesterday, actually. So I guess anyway, hey, thank you for being here today. We're gonna go back one slide here and just kind of get to the title because the title I changed it. That was one of the things I changed recently.
Oh,
Beyond what was that, Cher?
I just said, oh, I didn't realize you changed the title.
Well, just a little bit. The expat lifestyle for retirees and before. That's the new edition
Got
and
it.
before. And I think we look the webinar here today is for retirees. It's about retiring overseas. We're going to have a lot of information about that in some specific cases. I always like to start with big ideas, and one of the big ideas I have to share with you all today is this idea of before. And for we'll get there in a few moments. In fact, by the way, I'm going to ask everybody if you're watching this on your computer or anywhere where you have a piece of paper handy and a pen. If you don't, and you can open up something to keep track of very simple math, we're gonna add the numbers 1, 2, or 3, and we're gonna total it out after 15 questions. So I'll give you a second to get a piece of paper and a pen handy, or maybe a little calculator thing up on your computer to calculate this. But there's a beautiful, beautiful I call it a quiz. It's the Are You Ready to Live Overseas quiz. I picked it up about, goodness, 22, 3, 4 years ago. And over this 2 decades, more than 2 decades, it has truly been the most accurate, quickie little assessment of whether living overseas or investing overseas, but going overseas is right for you. So we're going to go through that quiz here in just about a minute. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen handy, great. If you can pull something up. But before we do that, I always like to just talk about what we're going to talk about. First thing we just mentioned is a global retirement right for me. Why do I want to go global? And the reasons vary. Obviously, there's an infinite number of reasons because there's whatever many people with many different reasons. But there are some core basic reasons that people fall into for why they want to go overseas. And if we can understand the why, if we can understand our motivations, we're more likely to make better decisions about where we go, when we go, and then how we go, right? So the where do I want to go, and then how do I want to go, and then we're going to touch on very briefly at the end this idea of a plan B. I just spoke out in Las Vegas last weekend at the Escape Artist Plan B conference. Plan B is simply sort of the Boy Scout motto of be prepared. Maybe we're ready to move overseas today, maybe we're not ready, but if we have any sense that we need to be prepared for a plan B in case something happens, in case I want to move later and be ready for it, we're going to talk about what that might look like. So here we go with the quiz question. So I hope everybody has their pen and paper handy and is ready to take the quiz. There are 15 questions, and what we're going to do is just kind of rapidly go through them. You're going to give yourself a point. One if it's no, two if it's sometimes, three if it's yes. So, are you usually one of the first to try new things, new experiences, and foods? If you're not, say one. If you are a little bit, say two. And if you really do these things, say three, right? Yes, you are. So, one, two, or 3 points. And we're going to go on and we're going to move a little quicker now as we move into the quiz. So, are you able to relax, willing to adapt to a slower, easier going pace? No, sometimes, or yes. Are you a self-starter who doesn't wait for someone else to get things done? No, sometimes, or yes. Are you willing to learn the basic phrases of a new language? Do you make new friends easily? Are you an optimistic, glass half full kind of person? Are you financially secure enough that you do not need to work? You may choose to work, but are you financially secure enough that you do not need to work? Are you open to new adventures and new activities? Do you have a hobby or interest you really want to pursue? Are you comfortable being a visible minority in a new country? Are you easygoing enough to deal with long lines, delays, and bureaucratic delays? Are you genuinely interested in getting involved in a new community, club, and activities? When faced with problems, are you creative in figuring out how to get things done? Do you respect different cultures and realize that you are moving to their country? Are you healthy enough, both mentally and physically, that you do not need constant medical attention? So there we go. There we have our 15 questions. I'm going to give you just a moment to add up your points. So please add those up. And when you're done, if you want to, put your number in the chat box where you just put your location as well. And okay, here we go. Here's the scoring system. Less than 20 points, stay home, right? You really are going to have a miserable time living overseas. 20 to 29, you will have some difficulty adjusting unless you make more of an effort to adapt. But you can, you can, but you may experience more culture shock, for example. It'll be rougher. 30 to 35, you'll cope pretty well and you'll enjoy your new country. And if you got 36 or more, what are you waiting for? Really get your planning moving. make some visits, and get going. Go. And again, this quiz has been unbelievably predictable for success of folks going, not just going overseas. That's easy, but staying and sticking. Right. That's the key. Right. To stick. Right. We can make the plans. We can go and have the best intentions in the whole world, but will we stick? And if you scored anywhere 30 or above, you are very, very likely to stick and have a great time. So anyway, love to see some of the scores. So hopefully you'll put those in, and at the end, maybe Cher can read off some of the numbers, and we'll see where people are coming down on this. But let's move into the meat of the presentation now. Why do I want to go global, right? The why. And the first thing I like to do is talk about some big ideas, because we talked about retirees and before. And this is where we really get into the before piece of the retiree, right? Moving overseas before we retire. Well, this is why. For the first time in human history, I mean, that's a big statement, really, right? I mean, right now, for the first time in human history, work and the location of work have been decoupled for a huge segment of society, right? If we go all the way back to the caveman times, right? I mean, you had to go kill the animal, you had to go pick the berries, whatever it was, right? You physically had to be there to survive. Your work was survival. You physically had to be there. And then, whatever, 10,000-ish years ago, they figured out, hey, we can put some fences around the animals, and we can plant the berries in rows, or whatever it was, the agricultural revolution. This was huge. And the word revolution is real there, right? It was revolutionary change. It took thousands of years to happen, but it happened, right? And then in the late 1700s, early 1800s, we had this thing called the Industrial Revolution, right? And it happened over a period of about 100 years, right? So you had people leaving the farms, coming to the cities, working in the factories, but you still had to be there to work the machines, right? Location and work were still physically tied together. But then comes along, the 1960s really, but into the 70s mostly, and this new word was coined: post-industrial revolution, right? Post-industrial revolution. These guys are writing books about it. Toffler and Nesbitt, right? Future Shock, Megatrends, right? You had these great authors and these great visionaries of the future talking about this post-industrial society, right? Where people could work from home. The technology was incredible, but people sat in traffic jams every day going to work, an hour or two one way, an hour or two the other way, right? To do this. Why? Like, you can do this from home. You can do this from home, right? The problem was that the management structures were industrial. They were invented, throughout the Industrial Revolution, but made famous by Frederick Winslow Taylor, who worked for Henry Ford on the assembly line, created a management structure for industrial production, right? And so this management structure was simply this: the manager saying, if I can't see you, I really don't know if you're working. And the worker's saying, well, if I ask to work from home because I'm doing this and talking on the phone, maybe I won't get the raise, or maybe I'll get fired, right? So you had this industrial model, management model. Well, COVID, more precisely, the government's reactions to COVID, broke that model, broke it, right? Stay at home, stay at home. And so all of a sudden, businesses and organizations had to figure out how to manage in a post-industrial society. Well, if home is, home is home, right? Make home someplace awesome. And see, this is what's happening now. This is what's really exciting, right? For the first, our business is 29 years old. This is our 29th year as ECI development. And for the first 20 years, we really focused on a retiree, right? Vacation property owners too, but retirees. And retirement meant you quit your job because you were tied to the location, right? You quit your job, you're going to go move someplace awesome and have a great retirement experience. But for many, many, many people now, work and the location of work have been decoupled. So now all of a sudden, we're starting to see a real upswelling of people in their 40s and 50s and even 60s who are saying to themselves, I don't have to wait till I retire to go do the fun things I always wanted to do in retirement. I can go there now and begin to live this lifestyle that I've always wanted to live. I don't have to wait anymore, right? And so that's the big idea. But I want to talk about the two whys. I mean that's big idea. But now let's go down into the whys, the reasons people are going global. We're going to spend just a couple minutes on the running from. We're going to spend a lot of time, the rest of the time, talking about the running towards, right? But these motivations are critically important. And for most people, it's some of both, right? There's a little bit of running from and a lot of running towards, or maybe there's a lot of running from and a little bit of running towards, right? But let's start with the running from, right? Many people are saying they see train wrecks ahead, many train wrecks, lots of things, happening that they don't like. And the two big ones, one is a train wreck of debt, right? We've got the government, the Federal Reserve, we've got the international organization. I mean, they are spending money incredibly. Like we see the budgets and the budget deficits going up. I mean, they're just spending money like drunken sailors. I mean, we've heard people say that, right? Well, what we also see is the purchasing power of these currencies falling off, especially when we compare them to things like gold, metals, other assets, real estate. I just saw a guy I read a lot, sends out a newsletter a couple times a week. He said real estate today, priced in gold, is half price to the same basic real estate in 1920, right? Today, a home that costs $450,000, right, is X many ounces of gold, right? It's half as expensive, right? So what we're seeing is the diminishing power of our earnings in these currencies. So this train wreck of debt, right? The other train wreck is a train wreck of freedom. I travel a lot, right? And I really can't tell the difference between travel and prison, probably, and throw school in there. I mean, metal detectors, right? I mean, this is where it's moving, and we've got social disruption. I mean, there's disruption on the left, there's disruption on the right, right? It's polarization, and it's creating all kinds of chaos in our society. And we see that, and a lot of people understand that these are reasons that they may want to be looking for a way out, a plan B, right? And so we have three choices when there's a train wreck. We can enjoy the ride, but you guys are here today. You're smart. You don't need to enjoy the ride. You can catch the last train out unless you're that guy, right? If we wait till the very end, we may be that guy running down the tracks, just trying to find a place to hang on the outside of the train, but we don't have to. Again, we're here. We're actively engaged. We're paying attention, and so the smart choice is to start doing things now today, right? The time to put plywood on the windows is before the hurricane hits, right? We don't want to be out there when the winds are blowing 100 miles an hour trying to put plywood up, right? So, the time to prepare and do the work is when the sun is shining. And we'll come back to the plan B at the end. I want to focus now on really the happy side of why people are going overseas. And that's the running towards, right? We're running towards a quality of life, cost of living. There's lots of great reasons people are running towards, and a lot of it has to simply do with the kinds of things we always wanted to do at some point in our lives, whether it's playing golf at the beach or hanging out on the water with our new friends and learning how to sail or going sailing or fishing, whether it's fly fishing, deep sea fishing, diving, hiking in the jungles. If we're going to the tropics, we really can have this incredible experience. And we can take up new hobbies. Maybe we've never ridden horses or we've never done zip lining before, right? We can start to do these kinds of things and enjoy these activities. This is what we're running towards. We're running towards this incredibly wonderful, rich lifestyle. And having our grandkids come down and enjoy it with us, right? Heading out on the beach, for example, watching baby turtles get hatched and run back to the ocean, right, with our kids and our grandkids, creating legacy memories. This is what we can do, and this is what many people are now doing far ahead of retirement. If we're at the retirement age, well, let's go do it, right? Let's go ahead and get going. I put up a picture of a movie theater. This is our movie theater in Nicaragua. I lived in Nicaragua for 14 years. People are like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I watched first run movies in English, and you order food off a menu and they bring it and serve it to you. And to sit in this seat right here and watch a first run movie, right? Same day it opens in the US, it opens in the theaters across Latin America. Uh, $4. $4. I mean, I don't even know what it costs in the US, right? But again, the time we can spend outdoors. I mean, the weather is great much of the year, depending on where you live. You can be outside, you can be hanging out with folks, game night at the truck stop in Belize, just hanging out, making new friends, enjoying a great quality of life. This is why people are running towards. And if we put it into some words, right? There was some good images, but we put it into words, we're looking at affordability, right? We're looking at health and wellness. We're looking at a vibrant location, but we're also really going to spend some time talking about the last one on here, which is community, because community is foundational to quality of life. And I'm guessing that for most of you who scored, 30 or above on that little quiz at the beginning, you are an adventurous soul. You are, or you wouldn't be on this webinar. You wouldn't be considering or even, thinking about, moving overseas, right? That quote unquote normal people don't do that, right? But the 10, 12% of folks in North America who are, considering property overseas, we're adventurous, right? We have a spirit of adventure in us, and I think for me, I know for me, and I've talked with thousands of people over the years. It's hard to find community in the hometowns where we're from in many cases. How do we find somebody in our neighborhood, for example, that would even consider moving overseas, that we can have a conversation with? Community is so foundational, right? To find people we can share certain commonalities with. And when we go overseas, we're more likely to find it. And if we're really careful and we do our planning right, we can almost ensure that it happens, right? And boy, when that happens, it's just magical. Um, the paradox, one of the paradoxes is, we talked about affordability. That was the top circle, right? And this is tough, right? Because people just really don't understand, how can I have a higher quality of life and it costs less? Right? Doesn't make sense, right? Living in North America, if we want a higher quality of life, generally we have to spend more, right? If we wanted to eat very healthy, organic fruits and vegetables, free range meats, hormone free products, meats and cheeses and things like that, we actually have to spend a lot more. If we wanted to have somebody take care of our chores, right? Pay somebody to mow our yard and fix our house and maybe clean our house, right? That costs a lot of money. But when we go overseas, it actually costs less, right? And our quality of life goes up dramatically. One example from when I lived in Nicaragua, we had a coffee sack, an empty coffee sack full of organic fruits and vegetables delivered, hear that word, delivered to our home every Tuesday, and it was $8. I mean, we couldn't eat it all. We gave it away, right? I mean, so I don't know how much it costs to run down to Whole Paycheck and pick up a tomato, but it's probably about $8, right? I mean, it's insane how much it costs to eat healthy. So you can go to the local market, right? And truly, where you shop does make a difference, right? So you want to shop in the local markets, of course, because you're going to get the organic and the hormone free and the free range stuff, right? But if you want the seaweed sushi wrappers or pate from France, right? You can go to the supermarket, they have it. So you can get those kinds of things, what I would call specialty items, right? That kind of infill a wonderful, healthy lifestyle. So we did shop at the supermarket, but we mostly shopped at the local markets, or better yet, had people just deliver to our home very affordably. I was just in the supermarket yesterday. I'm about 80 miles west of Washington, D.C., in the Shenandoah Valley. Eggs were $6.99 a dozen. I know everyone's talking about eggs lately, but 30 cents a dozen in Nicaragua, right? Chicken for less than $1 a pound, filet mignon in that $2, $3 a pound, and then the vegetables and stuff, just so silly inexpensive that it's wonderful. You go out, look at the colors. I mean, you go out for a meal. This is Doña Haide, one of my favorite restaurants in Managua. Just look at all the different colors in this meal, and so affordable. And then if you say to yourself, I want to live in a community and I want to grow stuff. This happens to be our Mila neighborhood at Grand Pacifica. These I should go back and take that picture again. Those plantain bushes are now, producing tons of plantains, and we planted about 800 mango trees that the workers and everybody, guests and owners, can all just go pick off the trees and have mangoes in season, more than you can eat. You can run down the beach about 10 miles to the little fishing village where every morning they bring in dozens and dozens of boats full of fresh fish. And if you don't want to do it yourself, just walk down to the restaurant and say, hey, would you pick me up whatever's fresh today? They go 2, 3 times a week. So again, being able to eat fish right out of the ocean and produce and animal products, it's unbelievable. And farmers market, we have farmers markets that now come to Grand Pacific on a regular basis. We actually have our own honey production, and then the kids always get a kick out of milking cows, right? And here's a new concept that's really, really exciting. And we're going to be implementing this in a Belize project later this year. It's called a food forest. It's a very scientifically planned garden. Basically, you've got plants at the lowest level, you got plants at the mid level, then you got plants up at the higher level. And when you create this kind of food forest, you create an abundance of organically produced food, and there's a symbiosis between the various plants. So anyway, stay tuned for this. If you want more information on that, just make a note. By the way, I should have put this up at the beginning. If you want any information on anything we're talking about, info@ecidevelopment.com. Info@ecidevelopment.com. Just write food forest if you want some information on this, or when we get to some of the other things, just make a note of it. Medical care, excellent medical care, affordable. If you're looking for what we call alternatives, right? I mean, a great massage for $16, chiropractor visit for $30. If you need nursing care, right? That one of the questions in the quiz is, are you healthy enough you don't need medical care? But the truth is the medical care in the region is excellent. And if you need a private nurse, it's very affordable at $400 a month. Go to the dentist, get your teeth cleaned for $30. Panama has a Johns Hopkins facility. The medical care throughout the region, again, is tremendous. And if you look at the JCI, accredited hospitals, Joint Commission International, they do an accreditation of hospitals. Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua all have incredibly excellent medical care, and just unbelievably affordable. When we lived in Nicaragua, my wife would have come give her a massage for $13 at the house. You can do it in a resort setting for a little more money, but again, just having these kinds of health and wellness activities, and the food that goes along with that, it's extremely affordable. And that's where we get back to this idea of paradox. The quality of life truly can be much, much higher, and the cost of living will be much, much less. It's a big driver. So now we're going to talk about the world of options. I always like to show that, that I've been an expat. The picture on the top left, that's my wife, Carol, my daughter, Amanda, back in 2002. We had just moved to Nicaragua for what we thought would be, I don't know, 2 or 3 years to get our Grand Pacifica community started. About 3 years into it, we had another little daughter in the lower right, Emily, came along, and we realized that we loved living in Nicaragua, and we decided to stay a while longer. And that was 14 years. And our girls grew up in Nicaragua. Our families came to visit. We took them out. We did really fun, cool things. They were in Girl Scouts. They were in dance, ballet. We still watched football games and did sort of the stuff back home. And that's the really cool thing about living overseas as an expat. You can maintain the ties back home. You can still watch your football games, get together with other expats. Maybe it's baseball, football, whatever. Go play football or baseball, right? Get together, play soccer. All these kinds of things are out there for you to do. But then you can also enrich on the other side with the things like diving, snorkeling, fishing, surfing, golfing at the beach, whatever that is, hiking in the jungle, right? And so this combination of those elements is powerfully wonderful for quality of life. And when we kind of boil down quality of life, we really need three things, right? We need the comfort, the amenities, and we'll talk about why the amenities are important in a second. And then ultimately, and most important, this idea of community. I think comfort's important. If by the way, in my book, I think I have something in my book later, but I always like to hold it up and say, if you're thinking about moving overseas, go to Amazon, buy a copy of the book. The e-version is 99 cents. It'll be the best dollar you've ever spent in this search for overseas information, right? How to buy your home overseas, and this is the part I really like, and get it right the first time. Get it right the first time. Okay. Friction costs are high overseas, right? Go to Amazon, Michael K. Cobb, How to Buy Your Home Overseas, and get it right the first time. If you want the paperback copy, it's 20 bucks. It'll be the best investment you will ever make on your journey to own property overseas. Please trust me on that. And comfort's really important because I have a whole section of the book on culture shock. And the thing about culture shock is people think it's going to be this, bam, bam, right? It's not. It's not the slap upside the face. It's the little teeny tiny ankle biters that just build up over time. And comfort is a big one, right? Internet speed. Imagine you move someplace and the internet's really slow or it goes out all the time, right? Especially if you're working, but take the work out of it for a minute, right? You're down in Costa Rica or Belize and your grandkids are sled riding up in Minnesota, right? They're up in the cold having fun. You're down in the warm having fun and you want to watch them sled riding. They're sending you videos, they're FaceTiming, right? Bandwidth is critically important. It's something so easy to check out. Another document that we've produced is the Consumer Resource Guide. This one's free. It won't cost you $1. If you want the Consumer Resource Guide, which is kind of an abbreviated version of my book, I wrote this first and then expanded it into my book. Just send an email, info@ecidevelopment.com, say Consumer Resource Guide. We'll send you the link. You can download it. It's free. It's got 15 questions that we should ask when we buy property overseas. One of them is bandwidth. Another one is water pressure. Water pressure. Drip showers are miserable. I don't know if you've ever taken one. I've taken a bunch traveling around the developing world over the last 33, 34 years. I've taken a lot of drip showers and they're not fun. It's something we can test. It's something that we should pay attention to test. And the Consumer Resource Guide has 15 things just like these two that are critically important, not just for your comfort. These two are kind of soft, they're comfort, but there are some really hard fundamental things like the engineering standards that went into your home. How do you ensure that your home will hold up to a hurricane or an earthquake in those areas of the region, right? You want to know that. And so the Consumer Resource Guide, my book, delves way, way deep into all of those issues. Let's move on to amenities because amenities are really the substrate of community. Amenities in the jargon of urban planning are called third spaces, right? They're places where you can get together, whether it's tennis courts, at the restaurant clubhouse, on the golf course, at the beach, on the pier, whatever it is, right? Or in a wave, on a wave, or under the water, right? They're places to have fun with people who either are your friends, but when you first move, are likely to become your friends, right? Because think about it, you move, you retire. Let's just use the retiree example, or you're still working, and you're a pre-retire, you're going to go before, right? You're a before retiree. But in either case, you're physically going to leave your place of work, you're going to move somewhere else. If you go to church or you have a synagogue, you're going to leave your church or synagogue. If you are in a softball league or you hang out with people on your cul-de-sac and have barbecues, whatever it is, you're going to leave your social network, basically your friends and peers and colleagues, and you're going to go someplace new. How do you plan to make new friends? Where will you make new friends? Right? And a lot of times this gets lost. We just don't think that one through. We get excited about the location, the water, the weather, whatever it happens to be. We're just enchanted with this place, right? And we lose sight truly of what provides the foundation of quality of life, which is our friendships and relationships. Yes, there are a few loners out there. And if you're a loner, I'm not talking to you. But if you're one of the 98% of human beings that really enjoy the company of other people, which most of us do, make sure there are places to find other people, right? To build a new friend network, a new community. And here we go. We're going to talk about it because this is in my book. This actually gets a lot of room in my book because if you can't tell already, I think it's really important. And by the way, we talk about people sticking or not sticking, right? On that quiz, the sticking or not sticking in most cases, when people don't stick, it's because they don't find community. They don't make new friends. They don't find a new peer group, right? And so I spend a lot of time in my book on this. And so to boil it down really simply, you have to have homes, right? Or addresses, right? Condos, homes, apartments, whatever. You have to have places where people can physically be, stay, right? Live, visit, whatever it is. You have to have access. Like you got to be able to get there, right? And I know that sounds silly, but again, in the consumer resource guide in my book, I talk about some of the access issues, right? Can you get there? And it's an important question to really understand in more detail. The comforts, yeah. I mean, you don't want 100 little ankle biters every time you get in the shower. It's a drip shower and your internet's off and on. It's too slow to watch your kids, and you're just going to be frustrated. Like it's not the end of the world, of course. I mean, it's a shower, just stinky shower, right? Doesn't work. Right? Comfort's really, really important. And so, how do we ensure we have those? And then the amenities, right? The amenities are what really give us the ability to go places and meet people. I pulled these from Del Webb. I think Del Webb, with the Sun City concept, he was the first developer in the United States to really understand how to build community from the ground up organically. Three quotes: concrete, steel, and lumber make the buildings, people make the community. And let's see if that's shared just real quick. Sorry. Nope. Sorry. Just share if you need me, WhatsApp me. But anyway, making sure you can still hear me. I think that's a powerful quote. Concrete, steel, and lumber make the buildings, but people make the community. If you get down to number two, turning new neighbors into fast friends, right? You got to have neighbors, there got to be people around, right? And then it is always about the spirit of getting together because when we have the physical places where we can get together with people, the possibility of friendship and community will emerge. These are ghost towns, dirt roads along the beach with some telephone poles, half-acre lots on the ocean. Might be a great investment if you're planning to own it for 20 or 30 years. But this is not a community because very, very few people. I was just in Las Vegas at the Escape Artist Conference, 57 people in the room. I said, who wants to be the first person out on this beach all by themselves? And I look around the room and one guy puts up his hand. I'm like, yeah, exactly. He's Robinson Crusoe, right? But the other 56 people don't want to be out here. So when we're looking for a place to call home overseas, we need to be looking for something very, very different. We need to be looking for real urban planning, right? There's a lot of stuff in this, and I'm not even going to go into it at all. If you want to see a copy of our business plan, I don't know, we've got like 20 pages on why urban planning works to create real community. We looked at what Del Webb did. We've looked at what other successful community building tactics and strategies are, right? To create places where people want to be together, sidewalks with shade on them so people walk, right? People will enjoy a walk down a shady sidewalk, right? Little things. It doesn't take much to get it figured out, but a sidewalk on both sides of the street with shade. People will walk. And then all of a sudden, when people are walking by somebody else, they say hi to them, or they have homes with front porches, and the front porches are 10 to 20 feet from the sidewalk. So as this couple walks by me on my porch here in a minute, like I'm going to say good morning to them or good afternoon. Hey, didn't I see you guys at the restaurant last night? Yeah. How long are you here? Well, we whatever. We moved here 3 years ago. We'll come have dinner with us tonight, or let's have drinks later. Community happens. Community happens when you put people in proximity to one another, and great development does that. And it's truly, really important. So make sure you own real community, right? People getting together for golf outings, beach cleanups, hanging out by somebody's pool, right? Getting invited over to a barbecue at somebody's house, right? Or just simply hanging out with people and enjoying a good time. And here's a real hack. I always like to throw this in because this is truly, I think, one of the most easy ways to build community. When you move overseas, join the Rotary Club or the Lions Club or the Kiwanis Club. Join one of those three clubs. Here's why. Because those are business professionals, and business professionals generally speak English, or many of them will. If you already speak the language, if you're going to, Central South America and you can speak Spanish or Portuguese, rock on, right? But many of us don't. I didn't. When I moved to Nicaragua, I spoke zero Spanish. And I joined the Rotary Club. The first week I was there, I went to a Rotary meeting and joined the club. And immediately I had lots of Nicaraguan friends, and they're the kind of friends you probably want. There were doctors in the room that worked at the hospitals. There were lawyers. There were bankers, right? There were other business people. And so you immediately build a network of people who speak English, but are plugged into the local community as locals. So I think that's really important. But what we also do is, when we join the Rotary Club, or we go do a beach cleanup with our neighbors, right? Or we go out and do sustainable gardening with an NGO that might be working there. We have lots of college kids coming through all these countries on internships and programs. Go help them do sustainable gardening, right? Get involved with the medical mission. Even if you're not a doctor, you can help coordinate when people go to see the doctor, right? Rotary clubs coming in from outside all the time, doing great things. And when we get involved in those kinds of activities, we will be working alongside other people who care about the same kinds of things that we do. And when we do that, again, you may make a friend. You might not. Maybe they're a jerk, right? You don't like them. But you know what? If you do it enough times, you'll find friends. And when you find friends that care about the same kinds of things that you do, it is meaningful, it is significant, and you'll be doing wonderful things in the broader community that really will transcend into real feelings of locality. You will become a local, and the expat kind of banner will drop off, and when that happens, you're home. And I think ultimately what we're trying to do is find a new home, and engaging in social work, whether it's with Rotary, Kiwanis, the faith-based organizations, NGOs. This is how we can really become, home where we settle. So let's talk about where we want to settle and how we make that decision. Um, some of you all have seen this curve before. I give it a lot in many of my different presentations. In most of my presentations, it's about investment, because this same curve holds incredibly powerful information for real estate investors overseas. But today we're going to talk about this curve from a lifestyle perspective. Same curve, same countries, kind of the same information, but we're going to look at it a little differently because, when we're making investments with our head, rational numbers, right? When we're looking for a place to live, we're deciding whether we like it or not, right? It's a heart decision, which is a whole different set of evaluation tools, right? Let our heart decide whether we like something or not. And so, you know, when we look at the top, by the way, I put the various countries, or there's Costa Rica's on here 3 times because that, by the way, that's really important. Costa Rica's on here 3 times because Costa Rica is not one thing. No country is one thing. Costa Rica in this case is 3 things: Pacific side, Highlands, and Caribbean, right? But if we look at the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, Panama, Brazil, right? You know, I just simply sort of come back to sorry, went off on a tangent there. But anyway, how I put the various locations on this chart was I said to myself, if a young couple in Des Moines, Iowa gets married on Saturday, where are they likely to go on their honeymoon Monday? Pretty simple question, right? Getting young couple in Des Moines, Iowa, heart of America, right? Getting married. Where are they going on their honeymoon? Yep, Costa Rica. Probably a bunch going to Panama. Maybe even a bunch going to Brazil. Down at the bottom, not many going to Nicaragua or the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, right? And a few are probably going to either Argentina, Belize, or the highlands of Costa Rica. This is about popularity. Like on the investment side, it's about cash flow and prices and things like that. But on the lifestyle, It really has to do with things like rough around the edges, stages of development, reliability of electric and water, right? And so when you factor in all those things, right, and then also, as I say here, the more familiar, the familiarity of product to a North American, right? If you're on the popular side, right, you're going to pay more for the property, right? If it's less developed, it's definitely rougher around the edges. I love that, by the way. I loved living in Nicaragua. I loved the fact that it was rough around the edges. It just suited me and my wife and my family perfectly. Um, but there is more of a risk for culture shock because more of the stuff will be unfamiliar and be a little jarring. But your price of acquisition will be significantly less, right? So we need to understand this development curve so that we can kind of put ourselves where we're going to feel the most comfortable. Sometimes affordability kind of drives it, right? If you only have X and X will put you in Nicaragua or the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, well, if you're going overseas, that may be where you end up. Just understand that in lesser developed areas, it'll be a little rough around the edges, right? So expect that. And then we're going to take from that and we're going to kind of morph over to a different set of concepts, right? Again, motivations are really important. The why are we doing this, right? We talked about running from and running towards. Now we're going to drill it down and make it a little more specific, right? Now, do I want a vacation home? Because a vacation home is very different from a permanent home, right? Vacation is different from living, right? And so we need to understand that. Am I looking for a vacation home? If so, what are my evaluation parameters, right? A retirement location or a full-time location, right? Well, then that's a very different set of parameters. And we're not going to talk about investment property today, but again, if we're thinking investment, we need to be thinking with our head rather than feeling with our heart. For a full-time location, snowbird or otherwise, retirement to full-time, that should be a 95% how do I feel about it, right? Right. Vacation homes, kind of a mix of the two. But if you get down into the next set of points there, geography, just in Latin America, just Mexico South, right? You've got cold, you've got skiing, right? In the southern parts of Argentina and Chile, right? You've got the deserts, right? You've got the cool, right? The tropical weather, the always spring. You've got humid, right? You've got hot, dry, hot, humid, right? You've got this whole range of geographies, right? Then you've got different locations. Urban. Do I want to live in a city? Do I want to live in a town? Do I want my city to be modern or do I want my city to be colonial? Right? Urban. Do I want to live in a resort setting? Right? Do I want to be able to walk out my door and go golfing or horseback riding or jump in my boat and go fishing, right? A resort setting. Do I want to live at the beach? Do I want to live in the mountains? Right? So again, these locations, community, ghost town. If you truly are Robinson Crusoe, find yourself one of these locations and you can be on your own. It's usually not right for most people. Or do I want to be in a community, a planned community, where I can count on the high-speed internet, the water pressure, security, those kinds of things, neighbors around me, right? Those come with a planned community. I know a lot of times people go, oh, I don't want that, and you might not. But living outside the U.S. is very different from or Canada is very different from living in North America and what a planned community really can be. And then the reality, right? One of the tenets of the consumer resource guide in my book is buy what you see, right? You can buy promises. We're gonna build the golf course. We're gonna build the tennis courts. We're gonna build the clubhouse. We're gonna put the streets in, right? I mean, you hear all of it. If you're gonna buy into a promise, just understand that maybe it'll come and maybe it won't. And whatever it is, you need to accept that reality. On the other hand, if you buy what you see, well, whatever's there is there, and that's what you're guaranteed. And so these are the kinds of things that we put into the mix as we begin our evaluation process. And there are a lot of choices, and that's a lot of words, but I like to put it into pictures, right? Top left, Mendoza, Argentina. It is truly Denver. You can see the beautiful Andes Mountains in the background with vineyards. It's Napa Valley meets Denver. You get snow there. It's 4 seasons. You go a little further south, you get great skiing, right? But the affordability in a place like this is unbelievable. Like if you can write a check for 3, 4, 5 million bucks, go to Napa Valley. If you're in Canada, go to the Okanagan Valley, write a big check, have at it, right? But if you're not that kind of wealthy and you can write a check for 2, 3, 400,000, then a place like Mendoza, Argentina may be right for you. Top right, mountain location. A beautiful colonial city, Cuenca, Ecuador, 500,000 folks. It is springtime all the time. Temperatures in the 60s at night, 70s, low 80s in the day, every day of the year. It's a colonial city. If you said, I like that weather, but I want a modern city, Medellin, Colombia, right? So again, the mixing and matching of different things. You might say to yourself, I love Phoenix. I love Arizona. I love the desert, but I really kind of like the beach too. Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, desert at the beach. Ambergris Key is your typical, Caribbean, beautiful 16 colors of blue water. And then up and down the Pacific coast of Central America, from kind of the middle of Costa Rica up through the southern part of Mexico, you have Southern California climate. You've got cactus and palm trees. And so if you're looking for Southern California for 10 cents on the dollar, you can get that in that part of the world. So I hope that this visualization helps to create the understanding that these elements can be mixed and matched to come up with some pretty really customized locations for each of us. And Costa Rica is a place that we work. And we work on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. So the price points of entry are much, much lower than they are on the Pacific side of Costa Rica. We have a beautiful partner there, Gil Phelan, Grandview Estates. The roads, water, all the stuff's in. There are people with homes, people are living there. You purchase a home, they will help build a house for you. Phases 1, 2, and 3 are sold out. They're in their last phase at this point. Beautiful home sites to choose from, anywhere from 1 to 2 acre home sites. If you want to garden, you want to raise your own food, this would be a phenomenal place to do it. And prices start around 100,000 for your home site. Again, other places in Costa Rica and the highlands, you get over to the Guanacaste Peninsula, these kinds of prices double, triple, or even go higher. So the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, definitely a place to look at for value. Nicaragua, I know that this is anchovy pizza for a lot of people. I don't like anchovy pizza. I get it. But if you're looking for a affordable alternative, I lived there for 14 years. It really is a wonderful, wonderful country. We have some beautiful homes there. Come down and take a look at them. Come rent a home. I mean, here's one, 108. This is a home that somebody is exiting quickly. They've had a kind of a sad situation, but at $108,000, you can have a beautiful home, a couple hundred yards from the beach. These homes are regularly priced around 200,000, so basically half price. By the way, if you're interested in any of these homes, just make a note, say, hey, send me some information on the move-in ready homes at Grand Pacifica. Again, a beautiful little casita. And here's an oceanfront home, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, directly on the Pacific Ocean, $500,000. Again, if it's out of the budget, it's out of the budget. But if you wanted this exact home in Costa Rica, you'd be 3 times the number. If you wanted it in California, you'd probably be at 10 times the number. So kind of the same everything, but much, much more affordable. And then Panama. Panama is a great location. It's much higher up on the popularity curve. You've got Panama City, which is a tremendous urban center. And for somebody looking for an urban destination, here is a spectacular home, 10,000 square foot home for $3.2 million, right in the heart of Panama City. So again, throwing out prices everywhere from 100,000 to 3.2 million, because I don't know who's with us tonight, but want to just kind of outline this idea. But a home like this in any U.S. city would be 3, 4 times the price in the heart of the city, in one of the few residential areas inside Panama City. And then Belize. Why Belize? Well, Belize is kind of in the sweet spot of this development curve. The prices are a little bit higher, but they're not, super high. but the amenities, the services, the comfort, the familiarity has already arrived. So Belize is truly in the sweet spot of the curve, and some beautiful homes here. We have over the water homes for just under 200 or just under 300, $268,000. Beautiful over the water home. This would make a great vacation property, maybe a snowbird property, and rent it out when you're not there. And then one idea that I'd like to put in your head. We are working on an acquisition of a very large piece of property in Belize at the moment. We will be developing into farmsteads. At least the first initial 500 acres of the 1,600 acres will be farmsteads. And if you're looking for a place, 2 to 5 acre home sites where you can grow your own food, you're close to the water, you're close to a town, the town of Independence is very close, and English is the official language. A lot of reasons people are looking at Belize. These properties, we don't have pricing yet. We anticipate a 2.5 acre property starting right around $50,000. If you're looking for a place to, again, raise your own food, have some animals, have a homestead, this really would be a place to check out. And if everything goes well, we should have the details and actual information by the end of the year. So we're looking this year. If you'd like to get information, you'd like to stay posted as we begin to develop this project, send us an email, info@ecidevelopment.com, and we'll make sure that you are the first to hear about this project as it comes online. So what I'd like to do now is just sort of wrap up with the few minutes we have left. And we talked about reasons for residency, this idea of running from, running towards. But no matter the reason, I want to just make a very simple statement. If you're going to move overseas, if you're going to be a permanent resident overseas, like physically you're going to live overseas, the tourist visa, a lot of people use that. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm not a fan of it. The residency card, that's mine, Nicaragua. The residency card is like a green card in the United States. It's the right to live in a country. Citizenship is something different. Citizenship means you get to vote and you get a passport, right? Those are the three levels: tourist visa, residency card, citizenship. And this visa, this tourist visa thing, really does work pretty well, right? I mean, people in Nicaragua go down to Costa Rica for the weekend. People in Costa Rica come up to Nicaragua for the weekend, every 90 days, right? So you leave the country, you spend a weekend in the other country next door. When you go back across the border, they stamp your passport and say, welcome back to Costa Rica, Bob, Mary, nice to have you back, right? And these programs work awesome until they don't. When COVID hit, the borders shut. And so did the immigration offices in the local, in the country you're living in. So you could not go get your visa, tourist visa, renewed. And after 90 days, you became an illegal immigrant in a foreign country. I don't know about you. I don't ever want to be an illegal immigrant in a foreign country, ever. And nothing bad happened to most people. The bureaucrats were benevolent, but I also would not like to depend upon the benevolence of bureaucrats. There's a better way, and a better way is to get a legitimate residency. Get a residency, right? If you decide you're going to move to Costa Rica, Panama, Argentina, Thailand, pick the place, right? Wherever it is, go through the process to become a legal permanent resident. If you're a retiree, almost all of these countries have pensionado or retiree visa programs that are easy to apply for, easy to qualify for, inexpensive, that give you the permanent right to live in that country. You might have to renew it every year or two or five, whatever it is, but it's a permanent residency. Please get that. Please get that. Become a legitimate resident of that country. I cannot encourage you enough to do that. We actually publish a book. I think it's got like 25 residencies around the world. Our 2025 edition just came out. It's updated for 2025. It's our residency guide. Again, 20 or 25 of them around the world. We only work in 5 countries, so 20 of them we don't even work in these countries. But we're really helping folks who want to live overseas do it right the first time. info@ecidevelopment.com, write residency guide or something like that, and we'll send you a link to download it. It's a free document. It's updated for 2025. And if you're really, yeah, you never want to be that guy, right? Ever. And if we're looking for plan B, the bottom line is we can today, while the sun is shining, we can take care of the things that we need to do. And I'm just going to give two examples of plan B residencies. These are residencies that you would put in your wallet, right? You would just put it in your wallet and hope you never need it, right? You got it, right? You got it. You put it in your wallet and you say to yourself, I hope I never need it, right? It's a plan B. Belize, stable economy, growing economy, strong banking laws. English is the official language. My goodness, that's the easy button for so many folks. We have a beautiful, beautiful Marriott hotel under construction right now. $350,000 oceanfront Marriott properties. Uh, Again, anywhere else, these numbers are significantly higher to multiples. And the really cool thing is that to get an investor's residency in Belize, the minimum investment is $250,000, and all of our Marriott residences qualify you for that investor residency. Something to look at if that works in your budget. If you're looking for a great investment, really, the Marriott is a phenomenal investment opportunity. And then Panama, beautiful cities, Panama City, David, very diverse, a lot of things going on. It is truly the economic powerhouse of the region. Logistics and transport and the banking services, financial services, certainly anchoring their economy. But what they have that really no other nation has, I think it's truly the best Plan B visa in the world. It is so simple and easy to get. It is permanent. You can live in Panama full time. But if you just said, I just want to have a residency outside my home country in case there's a train wreck, whatever that train wreck is, right? If there's a train wreck, I got to get out and I got to be able to stay out. The Panama Friendly Nations visa means you only have to visit the country one day every year. I think it's actually one day every 2 years to maintain it. So if you took a long weekend every other year to Panama, you would maintain a permanent residency. You can work in the country. Remember that quiz question? Do I need to work? If you do the special nations visa and you live in Panama, you can actually work in Panama, right? So there are some exceptions to some of those questions. It can also lead to citizenship. And what we've done is we've paired the Friendly Nations visa up with teak ownership. I planted my very first teak plantation in Panama 25 years ago. It's grown, it's mature. I think the teak is a great wood. I mean, obviously, if you know anything about teak furniture, you know it's really expensive. Teak is an incredibly valued commodity in the marketplace. And when you pair it up with residency, this is a picture of our 25-year-old plantation taken last year. It qualifies you for residency. It has a great investment profit as well. And then it's also a way to leave a legacy because you own the land, you own the trees. When you have the harvest, the next generation gets those. And then for the peace of mind you get for having a plan B in place. The investment is $26,000. You get a half acre of teak. You get your Panama residency. You own the land. You own the trees. It is a phenomenal way to get a Plan B residency in Panama with a phenomenal investment as well. So anyway, this is it. We're going to wrap it up. If you're looking for a Plan B residency, we take Bitcoin, we take metals, we take U.S. currency, we take other currencies, by the way. That's how you get a hold of us if you're looking for a Plan B residency. If you have any other questions about any of the information we covered today, the residency guide, the consumer resource guide, any of the homes that we talked about, you want to see information on anything we talked about, info@ecidevelopment.com. Put a note in the subject line or write something in the subject or the body of the email. Tell us what you're looking for. We've been doing this now for 29 years. We started our company 29 years ago, and we've served thousands of people over the years like you who are looking to move overseas want to have a global experience, whether it's retirement, whether it's before retirement. I hope a lot of you are in that before retirement category, but it's also a lot of the folks in other generations as well. So with that, I'm going to, I guess, pause. And I know I ran a little bit over share, but do we want to take a few questions just for a couple minutes, maybe like 5 minutes, if there are some, and then we'll close out.
Yeah, we just have a couple, and I wanted to go over the quiz results
Oh,
from
yeah, thank
earlier, the
you.
beginning of the presentation. About 95% of people were scored 35 and above, and a couple people scored maybe a handful, three or five, scored 40 and above. So everybody did pretty well
Okay.
on it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And then we have somebody at the beginning, towards the beginning of the presentation, John was asking about pharmacies, and I don't know specifically what he wanted to know, but he just,
Yeah, I can make a quick stab at that.
okay.
And unless it's a narcotic, right? You can walk into a pharmacy and pretty much get any medicine you want without a doctor's prescription. I said this at a conference once, and I had a doctor kind of get in my face, and I understand. I mean, like, you shouldn't self-medicate and stuff like that, but it's so easy to you go to see the doctor and they tell you to run down and pick up whatever it was. You walk in, you tell them what you want, and they give it to you, right? So it's not bureaucratic. I strongly recommend getting tested, going to see a doctor, right? Find out what you need. But yeah, you can pretty much buy any medicine except for narcotics, just at a pharmacy with no prescription.
And somebody said, do you take XRP or XMR?
No, if you have those kinds of coins, if you can convert them into a Bitcoin, or we have a Coinbase wallet. Our company has a Coinbase wallet, so we can accept anything that Coinbase can accept. And if you have something specific you would like to discuss, share, maybe they could email in and you could introduce them to Joe. Joe handles all of our crypto transactions for the company, and he'd be able to give you a much more detailed answer than I can on that.
Yeah, we can get you more info on that, Tim. And then somebody's saying, what's the best way to get a pet down there?
Pets, yeah. When we went to Nicaragua, we took our dog with us. We had a chocolate lab, and the thing that you're going to have to do is in fact, I have a section in the book, by the way, about pets. There are some great resources out there on pets. The absolute key to taking your pet overseas is to find out what the inbound country requires in terms of vaccinations and shots and certifications and all that kind of stuff, and have it be perfectly precise and translated into Spanish, Portuguese, whatever the language is, right? The precision is the key. And actually, most countries you can still take an animal back to the United States if you took it with you and maintained the health records and things like that with the veterinarian in the new country. There are some countries that are exceptions to that, and you would want to look if you move down with your pet and you didn't stick for any reason. You want to know that you can bring your pet back. So double check both into the country, back to the US, and what those specific rules and regulations are. But precision is your best friend.
I think we have time for one more. I like this one. Tim again asked, how's the surfing in Nicaragua?
Unbelievable. The coastline has numerous incredible surf breaks. We are blessed. I mean, we didn't make them, of course. We are blessed with two. One of them is one of the top 10 surf breaks in all of Central America. It's called the Meat Grinder. It's a left break, and it's on a lava shelf. It is phenomenal. It's world class. Kelly Slater, others have done video there. We also have a beach break that is also excellent. We just held the Latin American International Surf Championship there last August, so almost a year ago now. About 180 surfers from all over Latin America and the U.S. came in to surf in a big surf competition. So our beach break is truly excellent. But our meat grinder, if you're a surfer, Tim, it is truly world class. And come on down. We'd love to have you come down for a week or so. And in fact, right now, May, this is the big surf season. The waves are coming in from the storms in the South Pacific. So check it out. I know you get about a week's notice when those waves are coming. So get ready to book a ticket and come to Nicaragua and do some surfing.
All right, and if we didn't get to your question, we will definitely have someone get back to you after the webinar, as well as you'll all get sent a video so that you'll be able to watch the replay.
Yeah. Cher, thanks for getting us all together today.
Of
This was
course.
great. Yeah.
Awesome
And
presentation. Thank you.
thanks everybody for joining us. Look forward to hearing from you. And if something we have serves a need, we'd love to help you, find that beautiful home overseas. It's really that's our mission, and we love doing it. So reach out, share. Thank you much, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.